What's an American issue you are too European to understand? I've lived in the US for 30 plus years and I still don't understand the fraternity/sorority system. Why pay for the bigger soda cup if there are free refills for the small? ISPs actually having data caps on wired connections in 2019. Your bathrooms. What idiot thought it was okay to have very small doors with gaps on all sides in every stall? How are you supposed to quietly poop and stink and fart without everyone seeing you? I can understand why you are so afraid of unisex bathrooms. Asian here, but why wear shoes inside your homes? Why does Ross, the largest friend, not simply eat the other friends? Why do you pay the taxes yourself? It's way easier to have it done for you by your state/country since you have to pay anyway. Lunch debt? Why is that a thing? Why are the children being held accountable and unable graduate? It a goddamn lunch. Showing prices before tax like my dudes. It looks cheaper but it ain't. Iggy mang iggy. Drinking at age 21. I mean, for real? I live in Austria and the legal drinking age here is 16. I'm surprised nobody has mentioned the prison population. The lack of paid maternity leave. The thought of having to hand my children to strangers and go back to work weeks after giving birth. Nobody seems enraged about what that must do to babies and mothers. School debts. Why do you only have two political parties in power that alternate each other? The double moral when it comes to sex and sexuality. Anything that happens in high school really. Edit. Geez, I'm getting a lot of replies. I'd like to respond to them all and discuss some more, but I don't really have that much time, sorry. Black Friday. Every time I see a video about it I cringe. The behavior depicted is always utterly disgusting and so unbelievably primal. Over here we have a prolonged period where sales are allowed, and even though there's more shoppers than normal I can't recall people being desperate for a stupid discounted item. Drinking tap water. I'm used to drinking tap water all day. I never buy water since it's the same as tap water. Edit. I was once on vacation in Africa, and that was my first encounter with how tap water is in some other countries. I could never imagine undrinkable tap water in Europe. Not rioting or demonstrating. I mean, I'm French, so the bias is big here. Edit. Damn, thanks for the gold. Why the Kardashians are even close to popular at all. In Norway we pay a deposit every time we buy soft drinks, beer etc., and get that money refunded when we return the empty bottles back to the store. Why don't you have that? I don't get it. It's good for the environment, and prevents people from just tossing them around everywhere. American work culture. Euro here. I have direct experience of working in high-tech office environment. US folk arrive in early and leave late. But productivity is rubbish. People seem to spend so much time wandering the corridors in our 37.5 HRS. We easily did as much as the US 50-60 HRS. We figured it was all about being seen to be a hard worker as job security was so flimsy. Why they use other measuring units instead of the international ones? People literally dying because they cannot afford to pay for their insulin anymore. That whole pledging allegiance to the flag thing. That's just so weird to us. 1. Where are the street lights in mostly part of the neighborhoods? At least here in SD. Have a walk after sunset is risky cause is pretty dark. 2 cars passing you in highway by the right line. 3 driving with 16 yo, voting with 18 yo, but not being able to drink until 21 yo. Crazy. Why the healthcare system hasn't caused literal riots yet? Having to register for voting. What? Why don't you just get a letter at home, stating you only need that letter and an ID, show up here or there on that day and that's it? As I've not seen it yet, tipping culture. It's insane to me that in America, you're some social pariah for not giving a tip, because the workers needed to live but haven't thought instead of giving them bonuses. Why don't we have a system where they're paid a fair wage by their bosses? And hashtag X200B. I mean, here in the UK we tip, but it's usually around 10% for very good service. In America it seems like 20% is the default for anything and you have to do it or you can't afford to eat out, which to me means it isn't a tip. And hashtag X200B. Edit. This comment helped me discover you can disable reply notifications because fuck me, I do not need 70 responses to this LOL. 50k for a university while average American earns around 40k bucks. My bet is that a ton of these differences can be explained by the percentage of Americans who live in rural areas relative to the percentage of Europeans living in rural areas in any given country. There are twice as many people in Europe, in a land area that's about the same size as the US. People live in closer proximity to other people. Huge portions of the American population live in rural areas, celebrate that fact, and have more conservative values and opinions associated with living in rural areas. Rural Europeans aren't less conservative than rural Americans, they just make up a smaller portion of the population and are relatively less isolated. Edit. It's also true that the American system of government is set up in a way that gives rural Americans greater influence over the government than urban Americans. So it's not just that there's a large rural population, they carry a ton of weight in Washington. How is the death penalty justified when it's been proven that innocent people have been executed? It doesn't make even a dent in the prison population, not even 0.01%. It doesn't save money because of the necessary C.1 lengthy trial and appeals process. It doesn't act as a deterrent because criminal psychology and basic common sense says that people who commit serious crimes do not believe they will be caught and do not weigh life sentences against capital punishment. Murder-suicide is quite popular. Most of the world has abolished or is in the process of abolishing it, leaving pretty much only the worst names like North Korea, Saudi Arabia, and China. The obsession with and worship of your military. How only 36% of Americans have a passport. Worrying about medical bills. I mean, I cannot comprehend how simple operations will end up costing 5/6 digits. It literally makes no sense. Everyone must have their own vehicle. For a leading first world country, how can it be that public transport isn't getting the attention it deserves? Police brutality. Every day I see/hear another innocent person being killed by police. Why aren't Americans putting these cops to jail for murder? In Europe even firing a warning shot is taken super seriously. American here, I have a British friend who didn't understand why most Americans prefer coffee as opposed to tea. Why are you incapable of building bathroom stalls without a 5 cm gap in it? Lobbyism. How come that some rich fuckwit can literally buy politicians and have some serious influence on their duty? The Pledge of Allegiance. WTF is that, and how do you spell it? Sticking stuff into laws that have nothing to do with law itself. You'd have law on traffic safety and somebody would stick in passage, rider I believe they are called, that prohibits abortion without consent f the father. I mean, how can you even stick a clause that has nothing to do with actual topic? The fact that a town with 30,000 inhabitants is small. The McDonald's ice cream machine being broken. Glorification of authority and institutions just because they exist. The extreme unhealthy obsession with celebrities. I don't give a fuck what you think about X politician, and stop making it seems like your opinion must be better than the rest. And journalists are more like bloggers. They tell people what they want people to think, as opposed to informing them with facts. Fuck you Fox, HP, and CNN. The fear of being honest. X. Obesity is not healthy. These king-size drinks in fast food joints. Who can drink that much? Credit card debt and score. 2 political parties, what the hell? Not allowing people with a criminal record to vote is something I will never understand. Leaving your shoes on inside your home, like I can't name a single reason why I would do that. How the public opinion can be so turned against things that are actually beneficial to the people and to you because they're not in line with your political ideology, because they're not proposed by somebody you voted for, or because you were told to hate it by your clearly biased news broadcasting network. Why can't you drink alcohol before 21 but you can literally have a deadly gun when you're 18?